Hi, my name is Pierre Cloutier and I'm here on behalf of Master Swimming Canada to discuss the most common disqualification found in Master Swimming. Throughout the video, make sure to pay attention to the red border around the screen. That would indicate that there's an infraction in the upcoming slides. In IM transition, the swimmer must complete the stroke according to the rules of the finish of each stroke. Breast and fly must be finished with a two-hand touch. On backstroke, the swimmer must finish on their back. They are allowed to do a suicide turn after they have touched on their back. What is not permitted is for a swimmer to go from back to breast doing what we call a flip turn. This is illegal. This swimmer would be disqualified because he turned on his stomach before the wall. At the start and at the turn, during breaststroke, the head of the swimmer must surface as the hands turn toward the inside of the second arm stroke. During the start of breaststroke and at each turn of breaststroke, the swimmer may do a one-arm pull all the way down to the hips. During the second arm pull, as the hands turn towards the inside, the head has to cut the surface of the water. If the head does not surface at that particular time, that would be an infraction. If the swimmer knows that on the start he or she went too deep, it is a good idea to just delay the second pull in order to bring themselves closer to the surface. Common infraction in butterfly is the arm movement. In butterfly, once the stroke has been initiated, the swimmer must do a complete arm recovery. The elbows must clear the water. When we're talking about the arms, we are talking about the arms, not the hands. The hands can actually drag in the water and that would not be an infraction. The arms have to be simultaneous at all times. Any initiation of arm movement must be completed regardless of where they are in the pool. In this example, we see a swimmer doing an underwater arm recovery which resembles a breast arm movement, and this would be illegal. At the touch, if the swimmer starts pulling, they must complete the movement no matter what to end up with a two-handed touch. In the next segment, we will cover a few minor infractions. It is totally illegal to wear a watch because a watch could be used as a pacing mechanism. In freestyle and in freestyle only, the swimmer is allowed to stand at the bottom of the pool, but is not allowed to walk at any given time. A swimmer may not pull on the lane rope. While swimming two per lane, the swimmers must remain on their side of the lane. If a swimmer crosses over and makes contact with the oncoming swimmer causing the infraction will be disqualified, and the other swimmer will be offered a chance to reswim at a later time. After pushing off the wall, the swimmer may end up in the ring next to his actual lane. Coming back into the lane remains an infraction and the swimmer will be disqualified. In relays, we find three common infractions. The first one is the order of the strokes. We start with backstroke and then we build up from the slowest stroke to the fastest stroke, which means breast, fly, and free. Any stroke swum in the wrong order leads to a disqualification. The second most common infraction that we find in relay is the swimming order. The list of the swimmer is given by the coach to the officials. The swimmers must swim in that order. Any change in the order of the swimmers is also an infraction. The most common one, the relay takeovers. The toes of the swimmers must remain in contact with the block until the hand of the swimmer has touched the wall. Timers, make sure you verify the name of the swimmer after each leg of the relay. If there is an infraction, please report it to the officials in charge. The false start or the early start. The swimmer must be stationary on the command of take your marks. Any forward movement or movement towards the race would indicate an infraction. and the swimmer will be disqualified at the end of the race. In this example, the swimmer was not stationary on the block prior to the start. This would constitute another infraction. On the fly, free, and back, the swimmer may not pass the 15-meter mark underwater. When we talk about the 15-meter mark, the head must cut the surface of the water at the 15-meter mark or before. And when we talk about the head, we're talking about the whole head from the hair all the way down to the chin. This will be any part of the head cutting the surface of the water at the 15-meter mark. If a starter indicates a step down, or in French, a repos, we want the swimmers to step down from the blocks, and we will restart the procedures from the beginning, meaning that there will be another whistle to order the swimmers to come back onto the blocks. For the officials, a reminder that masters are allowed to start in the water or on the side of the pool. They do not have to be on the blocks. Now we will clarify the misconceptions of simultaneous versus symmetrical versus horizontal plane. In breaststroke, the arms have to be simultaneous and in the same horizontal plane. This also applies to the leg movement. This means that the left side of the body does exactly the same thing as the right side of the body at the same time. In this example, the swimmer is doing the same thing at the same time, but this is not in the same horizontal plane. This would be an infraction. A very important aspect of breaststroke is the alternation between arms and legs. One cycle of breaststroke is represented by one arm pull and one leg kick. During a cycle, the head must cut the surface of the water. In butterfly, we are referring to simultaneous arm movement. This means that both arms have to come out of the water at the same time. We're also referring to simultaneous leg movement. The legs do not have to be together. They could be separated as long as the same leg remains higher than the other one throughout the length of the pool. This could be changed on the way back. That would not be an infraction. Any alternation of the legs during one length of the pool is an infraction. The swimmer may do as many butterfly kicks as he wants, regardless of the number of arm movements. If a swimmer chooses to do a breaststroke kick, then there must be one breaststroke kick per arm pull. The swimmer may do a breaststroke kick at the turn prior to the first arm movement. These rules were clarified as of March 7, 2010. The touch in breaststroke and butterfly. There is two common infractions found in breaststroke and butterfly touch. One is the one-hand touch, which is literally one hand touching the wall when the other one does not even come near the wall. And the other one is a non-simultaneous touch. It is very important that both hands will touch the wall at the same time. We may find a swimmer touching very quickly, and that would be permitted. This is a notice to the officials, because very often we will see a swimmer is just swiping the wall, and that would be legal. The touch does not have to be symmetrical. It has to be simultaneous. Therefore, the hands could be anywhere on the wall, above or below the line of the water, but the hands must touch at the same time. The backstroke turn, one of the most common infractions. Upon approaching the wall, the swimmer may turn onto their stomach. If the swimmer turns onto the stomach, the swimmer must initiate the movement by bringing his arm down along the body. Once the arm has reached the side of the body, the swimmer must initiate the turn. Upon leaving the wall, the swimmer must be on his back. The swimmer may turn on his stomach to do one arm pull or both at the same time to initiate the turn. In this example, the swimmer does 2 arm pulls. This would be an infraction. If a swimmer sees that he's far from the wall, after turning on his stomach, the swimmer may decide to bring his arm slowly and kick as hard as he can. this would not be an infraction. Any gliding prior to the arm movement or following the arm movement, this would indicate an infraction. The swimmer may also touch on their back at the turn, and the swimmer may also touch on their front and then leave the wall on their back. But if the swimmer decides to touch on their front, they may not glide into the wall. They have to turn and touch immediately. This rule has been clarified in March of 2010. This does not apply to the end of the race. At the end of the race, the swimmer must touch on their back. The two important words in the following disqualification are must and may. This is the new rule. On breaststroke start and turn, the swimmer may do a dolphin kick. The dolphin kick must be done during the first arm pull, meaning any part of the arm pull, whether it's at the time the hands separate from one another or at the time that the hands reaches the hip. This is considered the first arm pull, and the swimmer may do a kick during that period of time. If the swimmer decides to do a dolphin kick, it must be followed by the breaststroke kick. The old rule used to say that the swimmer was allowed to kick after the arm pull. This is no longer applicable. Also, in the old rule, there was a description where the feet had to be. This is also no longer applicable. Therefore, the feet can now exit the water during the kick. We hope that you've enjoyed these videos and that this will help you in your swimming. We'd like to apologize to all the officials who will have nothing to do, but this was our way to help the environment by reducing the amount of DQ sheets being used and therefore saving some trees. Thank you and good luck.